for the 2014-2015 financial year. Of this, 6.1 billion rand has been allocated to the court services program, 3.2 billion to the National Prosecutions Authority, and 2.1 billion for public entities and Chapter 9 institutions. Now, the Minister of Justice, Michael Masutha, is tabling this in his first budget speech in Parliament. This was done yesterday. The Minister says he wants to stem the continued inequality which denies the majority of our people access to justice. He's in our parliamentary studios in Cape Town. Minister, it's lovely to have you. Thank you very much for being our guest here on Morning Live.
Good morning, Leanne, and to the viewers, and it's good to hear from you again.
Yeah, indeed it is. It's lovely. We haven't had you on the program since your appointment, so we're very happy to have you. Minister, in your opinion, why is it important for all South Africans to have access to the justice system?
Well, you'd recall that as the ruling party, we committed ourselves to a society which is and feels safe. We also have committed ourselves to equality under the Constitution, in which everybody has equal protection and benefit of the law. And part of that requires of us to make justice accessible to ordinary people from a cost point of view, but also from just physical access. So amongst the other things that we're hoping to achieve in the current administration is to realign the entire court system in such a way that courts are closer to people, that the processes are less costly, and in some instances completely free, and that generally South Africans feel equal before the law.
Yeah. You talk about bringing courts closer to the people. This, I imagine, is one of the projects that you have in mind to speed up the transformation of the justice system. What else do you have in mind?
Well, we are enjoined by our Constitution to promote a culture of human rights. You would have noticed from various media reports over the years that, especially if you focus on the most vulnerable sectors of our society, they have experienced serious violations of the human rights. Gay and lesbian communities, to give an example, have been particularly targeted. Children, people with disabilities, and so on. One of the interventions through our various programs is to advance the rights of these people, be it through public education and advocacy, but also through intensifying measures, protection measures to enhance their sense of security within society. Of course, this we achieve through partnership with Chapter 9 institutions such as the Human Rights Commission, but also with civil society organizations. So that's one area that we want to strengthen.
Yeah. What about the perceived attack on the independence of the judiciary and your interaction with the Chief Justice? That's also an issue that always comes under the spotlight.
Yeah. Let me start by saying that one of the demands that the judiciary has made over the years is to have full control over the resources allocated for the running of courts. We have begun a program starting with legislative and constitutional reforms to that effect, all the way towards finally launching the foundational steps towards the ultimate separation of our courts from the general administration of justice. Of course, as Minister of Justice, I still have a responsibility to support the functioning of our court system in collaboration with the judiciary. I mean, the Chief Justice does not sit in cabinet, does not sit in Parliament, so I still have a responsibility to provide political support to ensure that our court system is adequately supported.
Yeah.
But having said that, we are clear that we want to promote an independent judiciary. We believe in the separation of powers between the three arms of state, and of course the so-called fourth estate, which is our Chapter 9 institutions, and of course yourselves, the media, who continue to be vigilant watchdogs upon us.
All right, there are two very important issues I need to discuss with you before I let you go, and I got almost a minute to do this. Minister, the reaction, I suppose one of your biggest tasks when you were put into the position was this decision to deny parole to Eugene de Kock. There's been a lot of reaction since then. What did you make of the reaction?
Well, it's largely been positive, and I truly appreciate South Africans for the support in this regard. Maybe just to clarify the context here. Our president, when I had an initial interaction with him around various matters, he provided us useful counsel by reminding us that in everything we do, we should observe the rule of law and the Constitution. And in this case, we did exactly that. The Constitution in Section 9 says that everybody has a right to benefit from and enjoy equal protection of the law. And we believe that the law, as it provides for the rights of victims and their families to be consulted, to have a say in the parole process, they too have the right to have their interests taken into account in making these decisions, and that's exactly what we did. Okay. We have a case, for example, you'd recall, where the granting of presidential pardon was stalled on exactly the same grounds at the level of the Constitutional Court, where it was said that until the families are involved, this shouldn't go ahead. In fact, we are revisiting that matter, but that's just besides. The point really is that we want to treat all South Africans equally before the law as is required by the Constitution.
All right, and then finally, Minister, and very quickly, this issue of prosecuting South African citizens for not paying their e-toll bills. It's one of those issues that doesn't seem to want to go away, and yet it's one of those issues where South Africans are protesting quite dramatically against it. What are your views?
My views are very simple. Everybody has the right to protest under the Constitution, but within the framework of the law. Preaching anarchy helps no one. If the law requires of us to fulfill certain duties as citizens, we have to do that. Otherwise, we'll descend into a state of anarchy. It doesn't matter whether it's violent or non-violent. As long as it colors disregard for the law, then we don't have a state. That would be my general approach. So I would say, while people are protesting, let us at least respect the law.
So prosecution is on the cards?
Well, the law has to be obeyed. If the law is broken, the natural consequence thereof is that we all get prosecuted for not obeying the rules of the road, for not doing the things that the law requires us to do.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us here on the program. Michael Masutha, who is the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development in our parliamentary studios in Cape Town.